Hey everyone, let's talk about one of the most watched events in human history. I'm talking about a global spectacle that captivated over 750 million people. Picture it. July 29th, 1981, the streets of London are packed. The whole world seems to be holding its breath. And then she appears, Lady Diana Spencer, in that massive, iconic, 25-foot-long silk taffeta dress, walking down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral to marry her prince. It was the ultimate fairy tale. It was the pinnacle of romantic love, celebrated by literally the entire planet. It's the dream our world sells us, right? Find your person, have the big wedding, and that's how you live happily ever after. But what if I told you that on that exact same day, in a quiet, unnoticed convent somewhere in the world, a young woman was also walking down an aisle? She wasn't wearing a priceless wedding dress. She was wearing a simple habit, and she wasn't promising her life to a prince. She was promising it, forever, to God, to a life of poverty, chastity, and obedience. No fanfare, no TV cameras, just a profound, radical, and to most of the world, a completely baffling choice. Therefore, that stark contrast forces a question that I think is one of the most challenging, both for Catholics and everyone else. In a world that screams for us to find fulfillment in romance, success, and possessions, what's the point of celibacy and religious life? And I need you to be honest with me here. Have you ever driven past a monastery or seen a nun in her habit and just wondered? Maybe you re-Catholic and you tried to explain this to a friend and stumbled over the words. Or maybe you're Protestant and you've heard this practice and thought, wait, that's not biblical. God created marriage. Why would you reject a good gift? Wherever you are, I want you to stick with me because this isn't about a dry rule. It's about a radical witness, and it's meant to say something powerful to every single one of us. So, let's get the biggest misconception out of the way first. Celibacy in the Catholic Church is not a rejection of love. In fact, it's the absolute opposite. It's about claiming to have found such an immense, overwhelming love in Jesus Christ that you want to give your entire self to it, without any division. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a scientist who discovers a cure for a terrible disease. You are so consumed by this mission, so dedicated to seeing it through, that you willingly put other good parts of life, like maybe a hobby or even a relationship, on hold. Not because those things are bad, but because this mission is so all-consuming and so important that it requires your entire focus. That's the heart of the consecrated life. It's a radical, all-in commitment. It's saying, God, you are enough. You are my everything. My spousal love, my identity, my security, it all comes from you. But if that's the case, why does it seem so extreme? Therefore, we have to understand it not as a loss, but as a powerful sign, a sign to the rest of us. In a world that tells us we are what we own, a Franciscan friar who takes a vow of poverty stands as a living, breathing billboard that says, you are not your stuff. True freedom is found in detachment. In a world obsessed with personal autonomy and doing whatever I want, a religious sister who takes a vow of obedience shouts, real fulfillment is found in surrendering to God's will, not your own. And in a world that often reduces love to a feeling or a physical act, a celibate person witnesses to a breathtaking truth. Love is not primarily about what you can get. It's about what you can give. Their life is a channel of God's love for everyone, the poor, the sick, the forgotten, not just funneled into one exclusive relationship. This is where it gets personal for all of us, whether we're called to marriage or not. The religious sister or the monk is a constant, unsettling reminder. They are a living question mark to our own compromises. They ask us, without even saying a word, what are you really living for? What are you chasing to make you happy? Is it working? Is God truly the center of your life, or just a part of it? For my Protestant friends who might see this as an extra-biblical invention, I totally get the hesitation. The New Testament praises marriage as a holy sacrament. But it also contains a verse where Jesus himself says, some have renounced marriage for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. The one who can accept this should accept it. Matthew 19 verse 12. The Apostle Paul also talks about the advantages of being single for the sake of undivided devotion to the Lord. So this isn't the church inventing something. It's the church institutionalizing a radical calling that Jesus himself pointed to. Their life isn't a critique of our choices to get married and have families. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee that the kingdom of God is not some far-off future idea. It is here, now, and it is real enough that people are willing to bet their entire lives on it. Their fairy tale isn't about a prince in a castle. It's about the king of the universe. And their happily ever after starts right now. So, the next time you see someone in a habit, maybe don't see someone who is missing out. See a radical, see a prophet. See a living sign that points beyond the ordinary, beyond the worldly, and straight to the heart of God. What do you think? Does this make the concept of religious life clearer? Or does it still seem strange to you? I want to hear from everyone in the comments. Let's have a respectful and fascinating conversation. If this gave you a new perspective, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.